Books make you hope. Books make you dream. Books make you laugh. Books make you scream. This is the Books That Make You show, discussing books with authors and experts, unraveling the inner pages of all the books that help make us who we are.
Welcome, everybody. It is time for the Books That Make You show. I'm your host, Desiree Duffy, and today we're talking about books that make you feel the power of friendship, loyalty, and nobility, and share it with the little ones in your life. Children's books have that positive and powerful messaging that in many instances are an excellent way to not only introduce children to reading, but to give them a foundation that's built on ideas that are uplifting, ones that teach them life lessons that will help them as they grow, friendship and courage, empathy. These are all themes in Bunky and the Walms, a Christmas story. Today we are joined by author Aleksandra Tryniecka. I think I said that right. And her book is a Bookfest-Award winner. Now, Aleksandra is from Poland, and she's in Poland right now. She's an associate professor at Maria Curie-University in Poland. And in her free time, she writes poetry and stories in order to accommodate her life with the right words. Now, in addition to authoring Bunky and the Walms, the Christmas story, she is also the author of the book entitled Women's Literary Portraits in the Victorian and Neo-Victorian Era. Wow, she's got a lot going on. Aleksandra, hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having my literary characters, Bunky, the Bunky Princess, Rodney, Plum, and Rudolph.
I love it. I love it. So many of our listeners are listening right now on the radio or maybe a podcast. This is one of those moments where I have to say, if you're watching on YouTube, you are so fortunate. And if you're just listening, then maybe go check out our YouTube channel, because Aleksandra is here and she's surrounded by Bunky and this color. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. So tell us a little bit. Can you introduce us to your world and to Bunky and everything that we've got going on there?
Thank you so much. Thank you. So actually, I created Bunky and the Walms as kind of a bridge between literature and our reality. Initially, this idea started in 2019, but actually it developed to this extent that I decided to create Bunky and also in our physical world to somehow reassure the readers and myself that there is this very close link, this beautiful magical connection between our reality and literature, and that dreams, literature, and our life are really very close. So I took a thread and a needle and I just made Bunky, his clothes, and our literary characters. Actually, Rudolph the reindeer is the one whom I didn't make myself, but we love him so much. He's with us too. He's very important in the story. And yeah, so Bunky and the Walms somehow became this alternative world for me. And I hope that also many readers will find happiness there and peace that is so needed nowadays, I feel.
Oh, absolutely. And yes, I want to talk about the themes and the messaging in your book. But first, I just want to say, Aleksandra, I don't think I've ever seen an author, and I've talked to lots of authors, lots of children's books authors too, who have just created visually such a stunning representation of this imaginary world that you talk about. And the fact that you've created this, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Actually, thank you. Actually, I've done it for the readers and for myself, because I feel that nowadays the world is really, like, especially the youngest readers, to whom this book is especially dedicated, but also all the readers as well. They need stability and safety and some kind of positive character in their life. I wanted to create Bunky, who would be their friend on the pages of the novel, but also this Bunky who can be their friend here in this world, like everywhere they can have Bunky with them. And I wanted to create Bunky who would be an imperfect character, so he would be very relatable, because Bunky has many human-like moments, but he always strives to be noble and good at heart. And I think that this is the most important, because we are also surrounded by this culture which glorifies superpowers and perfection. And I wanted to somehow prove that it's okay to be imperfect, but noble, always striving to be good, to be kind, to be better. And I wanted to offer my readers this type of friend that they can take with them. He can be with them in the book. He can be with them through every day in this world as well. So here he's Bunky, and the Bunky princess is here, and Plum and Rodney. So I thought this was very important.
Oh yeah, and that's part of your message about you don't have to be perfect, because nobody is perfect.
Yes.
And we do in this, in the modern day society, there's so much pressure on even little kids, and this is a foundation
Yes.
that they build upon. Yeah, this is a foundation that they build
I think
upon
it's
as
very
they get.
stressful. Yeah.
It is. So yeah. So this is something that parents and teachers can give to kids so that they have this foundation as they grow and as they learn. They are told that, it's okay to be imperfect. So why don't you introduce us a little bit to the actual story and give us the setup?
Thank you so much. So actually, I will start from our world and move into the book, just as the whole idea is between our world and the book. So the story started in our reality, so to speak, in May 2019 when I visited the British Museum, and after that I went to a local shop with soft toys, mascots, plush mascots, and there I saw this mascot of the blue hippo, and somehow I thought that his face is very ambiguous. He had this very ambiguous face expression, not really smiley. It was critical. It was, he was smiling, but in this critical way. It was very ambiguous. And I thought, wow, this mascot has this very human-like face expression. There must be a great story behind him. And then I thought, I just started thinking about it, and I imagined Bunky, and then Bunky grew as this amalgamation of my friends, myself, and all those important characteristics were incorporated into this literary figure who gradually became very real. And I started writing, even if it was spring. And I love Christmas. I think it's a very special time. It's all about inner magic stemming from one's heart, and it's all about that. So I thought this must be a Christmas story. It's so important to offer something uplifting and beautiful. And then 2020 happened, and the pandemic, and I was never so sure that I should continue writing this story for everybody, for myself, just to heal from all these experiences and find this peace, this normality, this kindness, this magical world that we all needed in these difficult times, especially for the youngest readers. I mean, I'm an adult, but I can imagine how difficult it is for children nowadays to find some kind of peace, safety, stability. So I thought I really need to keep writing this story because it was in my heart and I wanted to share it so much and just introduce Bunky. So Bunky is this little character who lives somewhere nearby the Faroe Islands. And yes, it's possible to locate him on the map as long as the readers will believe in Bunky. So then they will be able to find him. And there is a map in the beginning of the story. So the map is on the very first page, and there is his location. And the story is also a little bit intertextual because Bunky is writing a story within this story. He's actually writing his own book and diary. And in this story, he pictures himself as a brave hero. Like everybody wants to be this special hero, and he pictures himself in this way. At the same time, he waits for Christmas at home. He has this big dream to receive a very special gift. And then Christmas arrives, and well, not everything goes as it should go. I won't present the details, not to spoil the pleasure of reading Bunky's story, but at some point, Bunky actually has to really save Christmas, so to speak, and then he will have to try at least to become this special hero he's been writing about all this time. So he was constructing himself on the pages of his diary, and now this is really happening. He has to really find himself in this special role of the hero, and he doesn't have any superpowers. He's an ordinary Bunky, and this is the most beautiful, I think, like all of us. And well,
Yeah.
he will have to face it somehow. And also, it's a journey within himself. And one of the highlights of the story is that in his diary, he's writing about the Bunky Princess. The Bunky Princess is Bunky's literary character, and his dream is to meet her in his world. So the question is, will it be possible? What is
Ooh,
the
I
power
love
of
that.
dreams?
I
And
love
yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So it has
I
many
have so
layers.
many questions to ask
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, I just have so many questions to ask you about your book. So this is a Christmas themed book. Tell us a little
Yes.
bit about how you feel it's a timeless message, something that kids and parents and teachers can get behind any time of the year.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. I think that Christmas is something that happens every day, every year. It absolutely comes from within, and it's a feeling. It's a feeling that cannot be substituted by anything else. Like, we know exactly what it feels like on Christmas. It's not about, I mean, it is partially to some extent about this festivity and presents, but it's about this inner joy and peace that cannot be taken away by means of anything. And this Christmas, also this kindness, this idea of sharing, of being good to one another, which always brings so much inner happiness. And I think that this is Christmas. So I always find Christmas to be this very universal time that can happen every day. But of course, during this time of the year, it's very special because we are very connected with this beautiful idea of giving, of sharing. And I just wanted to, because in the story, there will be moments when Bunky will have to, for example, be happy for somebody else, or somebody else will have to be happy for Bunky and his happiness. But, for example, some gifts will be offered that weren't meant to be there. And it teaches us how to appreciate everything and how to derive joy from things that are given. But sometimes we are given something we are not very happy with, but in the end, it turns out that that was the very thing we needed. So
what's next? Yes, exactly. What is next for Bunky and the Walms? Are there going to be more books? Is this going to be a series?
Thank you so much. Actually, yeah, when I was writing the first part, I already knew that in order for Bunky to be this complete character, he really needs to continue his adventure, because in the first part, there was indications that he has to return and meet Santa Claus again, but this time it will be the springtime, because during the spring, Santa Claus is also there. We just forget, but he's there, and he's doing something. Yeah? So Bunky will have to face another challenge, which will be, I think, quite relatable. And Bunky and I are working on this part. It's almost ready, and we would love to share it with the readers and continue the story. Also, the Bunky Princess will be there maybe again. So yeah, it's coming.
And Bunky is such an adorable character, and there really is something about our favorite literary characters, right? So as I understand it, the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass is one of your favorite literary characters. Can you tell us a little bit about why that is?
Thank you. Of course, apart from my team of Bunkies, he's my favorite literary character as well. And the Cheshire Cat, well, I always found him to be just such a wonderful, perfect character. Like, some readers think that he's quite absurd, but I conducted a study on the dialogues in Alice in Wonderland, and it turns out that he's perfectly correct, and his little silences within the text, and his appearances, and his very specific way of stating what he means to convey in his message is just perfect. And I think that he really epitomizes our need to sometimes detach from what is weighting us down, bringing us down in this reality, and somehow he is this character that can connect us to this. Well, on the surface, it looks like an absurd world, but in fact, he offers this freedom, this play with words, with this alternative reality that we can also create on our own. And this is his message Like you can choose your way. He's your guide in the story, but yes, you can create this reality, and I just adore him. He has this aura of magic, of mystery, of secrecy, and well, he's a perfect character.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something about us humans. We identify with characters and we fall in love with them. It makes me wonder, I mean, what are your thoughts? What does it say about us as human beings that we can see a character like that and we identify with it so much we fall in love with them? What do you think the mechanism behind that is?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It's a great question. Actually, I think that many characters are like mirrors. And we should remember that if the character is this entity in the middle that's alive. I absolutely believe in that. And then on both sides, we have the reader and the author. And this is just the character will be this beautiful connection that is created between the two. And actually, we have these different readers. So everybody will read this particular character in a slightly different way. And this is the whole magic. Like the character can become so many things for each person. Like I think that we are always looking for mirrors, like metaphorically speaking, in life. And that's why we also write and read somehow to find something relatable or something that is completely different from us, but also allows us to point out at ourselves and find something about ourselves as well, so about our inner life. So I think that these characters, however we will interpret a character, there will be always something connected with the character versus me, or the author and me, and what we created together, what we have in common. So it's always this connection between actual people too, and all of it is in the character.
Absolutely. And I love the way you talk about, the mirror image between us and the characters and the connection that we feel. As a writer, when you are writing Bunky and the Walms, is there anything that you discovered about you yourself on your writing journey?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I did. I discovered that this theory that was so popular, and it's no longer that popular, but that the author doesn't have anything in common with characters because they are just literary entities. It's completely false. I mean, when I was creating, for example, Bunky, and I didn't think about it at all. I thought I create an independent character. I just discovered that he's part of me. Like my friends read the book, they were the first to read it, and they were like, "But it's about you." I'm like, "No, it's impossible. This is Bunky." Or for example, so I think that we are just really drawing from our experience. Like everybody has different experiences, and we actually can only reach as far as our experience goes in life and how we see the world. And there's always a very close. So what I've learned about myself, that I think I am a little bit like Bunky. So trying, just being imperfect at times. Like Bunky has these grumpy days. Like for example, let's say he wants to eat more chocolate cookies, but like he cannot because it's before dinner time. It's a very simple example, but I just discovered. Or for example, when he is supposed to save the world, he's like. He wanted to do it in his diary, but his first initial thought would be, I wanted peace and quiet. So I find this very relatable. And then he starts to dwell on that, and he starts to analyze it. And I think I've learned a lot about myself while writing this. Also, what I found about myself is that how important is that I'm, for example, my background as a writer. And I think it's relatable when it comes to every author. I really love this idea of the Victorian 19th century household with this elegant setting, and this is how I imagined Bunky's home unconsciously, but it looks like this a little bit. But then Bunky dresses the Christmas tree just before the Christmas Eve, and then I never thought about that. One of my readers told me, but this is Polish tradition. I'm like, that's it, you're right. So we are having these little patterns in us that make every person's story beautiful. Like every writer has these little connections with his or her reality, and and they make it so unique.
Yes, absolutely. And your other book, the Women's Literary Portraits in the Victorian and Neo-Victorian, that novel, now that makes a lot of sense because that's something that you infused into Bunky and his world as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Thank you so much. So actually, this book, the initial idea was based on my doctoral research and my thesis. So I wrote my thesis, and I was really interested in that topic. And I thought that I would really like to develop this idea. And I started working further on that and just dedicated myself to the study like entirely. So this book is like many years of my research, and that's why it's so precious to me in a way, but also it's this book is meant to discuss literary women as characters, and I just selected some Victorian novels and some Neo-Victorian novels, which are the modern works, which are supposed to somehow mirror or comment on the Victorian literary world. And I wanted to show how these two types of women in both of these modern novel and the 19th century novel are presented. And the women are such fascinating characters to analyze because they are always in between, like between the domestic and between the public. And they know about both of these spheres. And also they have this beautiful fashion, which I think is more emphasized. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's more emphasized when it comes to literary characters, like women. The dresses they wear, they are very symbolic sometimes. They tell us a lot about the times, and I found it fascinating. I thought, like, if I analyze literary characters like women, I know a lot about society in general because they are always in between this domestic and public. So I will know a lot. That was my hope.
Yeah.
And
You're absolutely right. The way women dress, the way they were viewed in society in Victorian times and in many other times as well, is really an indication of what that society was like and how it treated people just in general, you know, the way women are held, what regard they're held in. Can you tell us, again, this is so beautiful, Aleksandra, you have this entire environment, and I know I follow you on social media, so I've seen Bunky and I've seen some of your posts and everything. Can you tell people where they can go to find you on social media?
Thank you so much. Yes, so Bunky is very active on social media. He does it all for me. So I would like to invite our audience to join Bunky and us on Twitter. I am Tryniecka, and also I have Instagram, Aleksandra Tryniecka. I also would like to invite everyone to visit Bunky on his website, aleksandratryniecka.com. And also we have a YouTube channel where I prepare this. I mean, Bunky has these adventures which are dedicated especially to the youngest readers, but also to everybody who would like to escape to Bunky's world. So he's very active on social media.
Yes. I think you help him out just a little bit, maybe, Aleksandra.
A little bit, yeah. Sometimes I give him an idea or two, but he always wants. I mean, he's better in that, much better than I am. So I completely rely on him.
Lovely. And the books, the Bunky and the Walms, it's available Amazon bookstores everywhere, right? There it is.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely. It's available worldwide and on Amazon, on wipfandstock.com. Wipf and Stock is my publisher. So and also it's available in Walmart and everywhere online.
Everywhere. A great book to read, not only at Christmas time or the holidays, but any time of the year. And I highly recommend following Aleksandra and Bunky and their entire crew on social media because you're going to have a lot of fun. Aleksandra, thank you so much for being with us here today. I appreciate it.
I would like to thank you so much for having me and also for finding value in my book. It really means the world to me. And to Bunky, to all of us, really. So thank you from my heart for that.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody, for listening and watching today. You can find out more about us on our website. It's booksthatmakeyou.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications and never miss an interview with amazing authors like Aleksandra. You'll get to meet wonderful characters like Bunky and all his friends. Until next time, all of my bookish buddies, please enjoy all of the books that make you exactly who you are.
The host and executive producer of the Books That Make You show is Desiree Duffy. Sound mastering and engineering by Dave Napox. Social media and content promotion by Siddhi Jahagirdar. Copywriting and editing by Mike Robinson. The Books That Make You show is an award-winning podcast produced by Black Chateau Enterprises.